can't afford to get the treatment they need because insurance companies won't pay until a case is closed. I'm attorney Spencer Callahan. I'd like to help.
Spencer Callahan is the one to see. Call 387-2323.
104.5 WNXX Jackson, 104.9 KNXX Donaldsonville, and WDGL HD2 Baton Rouge. This hour is brought to you by Spencer Callahan Injury Lawyers. Hunt and Hill. Hunt Palmer, Jeremy Hill, holding down the middle of the day. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios. It's Hunt and Hill. Now on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Welcome in, Hunt and Hill, on a Monday from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios here in the capital city. I am Hunt Palmer. He is Hill, Jeremy Hill, Casey Gaines, and Taylor Sharp on the ones and twos back there. We'll with you for about 10 minutes, and then we'll throw things to the Ed Ogeron press conference. Jeremy Hill, how we doing?
Pain. It's just what I'm feeling right now. Just pain. Man. Brutal one.
A lot of people in South Louisiana feeling that way after LSU's game with Alabama went the way it did, and the Saints game with the Falcons went the way it did. I don't think we saw either one coming. Jeremy, I talked about this on the post-game show right after the game, and I thought in the moment I was thinking, man, I bet I feel differently about this on Sunday, on Sunday and then on Monday when I go to the air. But I really don't. I feel the same way I did after the game. I have never had a game-watching experience like that with LSU football. I just haven't. I had I had expectation that LSU was going to get absolutely blown out, absolutely crushed in the game. And so I'm an intense game watcher. Like, I get fired up. My language is questionable at times. I'm emotional. It's just who I am. I can't fix that. But I had none of that on Saturday. I'm sitting there. I'm laughing at Saban yelling at people. They're getting penalties. I'm thinking it's hilarious. They have to punt. I'm like, this is hysterical. And then all of a sudden, at like the end of the third quarter, I'm like, oh, crap. I have to start caring about this. Like, we might win. And, of course, I end up getting furious and then just mad. But I have never had an emotional run like I did in that game on Saturday. What was your kind of where were your emotions?
I was riding that same boat when Williams caught that touchdown to go up 2 scores. I was like, oh, goodness, here we go. I was so into it. I was like, okay, we're cooking with something. Maybe dialing up some blitzes, scoring a couple of
Talk about that later.
Yeah, dialing up some fake punts. Like, what's going on right now? Like,
that really made me laugh. That was hysterical.
I was really in a different parallel for a minute there, and I had to, get my wits about me and get myself together. And then I look up, and it's still a 1-possession game in the fourth quarter, and so that was just one. You just talk about letting one slip away. That's just right there at the table. I know everyone's going to talk about the go for it or not. Obviously, in this situation, you got to go for that. I love K. York. I know we have him, but you got to go for it. You got to take the Giant down, and I'm not mad at the call. We just got to convert there.
So we'll talk about the game. We got a lot of time to get to all that, and certainly in the second hour we will. My ego is not allowing me to react properly to this game. And I say that because I think the level-headed reaction to this is, man, you're down your entire team. You've had a terrible year, and the guys came out, fought hard, gave it everything they had, and competed admirably in the game. That's what you probably should say. I can't do that with LSU's football team. I don't want to live in a moral victory world. I don't want to be in dang, we tried hard world. I don't want to be like an Ole Miss fan. Like, that's not, I don't want to do, I want to compete for championships, expect excellence, and when you lose, it's unacceptable. And so that's an ego thing. And I don't want to allow myself to feel the way I probably should.
No, dude, that's exactly what I always talk about, the standard of LSU football, and the fans have a standard too. When you put your purple and gold on, you want to feel like, you're supporting something great and you're supporting something special, and that's just what I feel as an LSU fan. That's what I've always felt as a kid, and you do that by winning national championships, competing for the SEC every year, and when that goes away, man, it just takes the taste out of your mouth, especially as a fan base. And even watching that game, just going into it with the thoughts I had and just seeing, us compete and fight so hard, it just really makes you just love being an LSU fan. And I'm so proud of them, man. Obviously, no moral victories around here, but to say they would go out there and fight the way they did, I'm definitely proud of them for that.
And Brian Haldane, who does mornings on Talk 107.3 here in the building and is our producer for the LSU Sports Radio Network, really said it great when I said that Saturday night, said that, I don't want my team to be reduced to, we tried hard and that was a great, admirable fight. And he said, yeah, but that's not your team. And that's a good point because the team is in the training room. The team is in the surgery table. Like, we know this. They don't have 80% of their production. It's just not there. So that is another part of it. But it's a weird feeling. I can't recall ever feeling like that. So you mentioned the biggest situations which was, do you kick the field goal down 6 or do you go for it on 4th and goal from the 7? I tweeted it at the time. I still feel it at the time right now. I feel like that was a spot to kick the field goal. I just don't like your odds on getting 7 yards. You just hadn't moved the ball that great. If it's 4th and goal from the 3, you got an opportunity to maybe run it, maybe call some – like I would have thought better of it. But your defense had forced 3 straight 3-and-outs. You were playing really good, and I think I probably would have kicked it. But I don't think it's the wrong decision to go for it. And what happened was they dialed up a good play. Jack Besh won the route. He was open, and Max was late throwing the football and didn't hit him. So that was one decision. The other decision is before the half to try to go score, where Max throws the pick and you give up the touchdown before the half. To that point, you had thrown for about 20 yards in the first half. You were not moving the ball through the air at all. You had literally like 43 passing yards at that point, but 25 of them were on the fake punt. So really you had thrown it for about 20-something yards. You weren't moving the ball efficiently, and you had fought your way to a tie at halftime. I would have been okay going in at the break at that point. They got aggressive, tried to go get it, and they decided, I mean, it was obvious, they decided when they got off the bus, they were going to be aggressive and try to go win the game. And I guess if you commit to something and doing it, that's better than just kind of making frivolous wrong decisions. But man, that one hurt because you turn the ball over late and give up the touchdown. You feel like all that effort you had given was wasted.
Yeah, you definitely want to get some sort of points out of the job, but I think, I said it before the game, and you sometimes got to be careful what you wish for, but throw caution to the wind, and I think you saw that. You saw that offense really go for it. Every 4th down, we had an opportunity, 4th and short, we're going for it every chance we get, and you get down there. Obviously, you're trying to slay the Giants, so you feel like a field goal, and they run the clock out, you lose the game. You go up there, you go down there, you try to get a touchdown, and even if you do get stopped, they got to go a long way just to put points on the board. So I'm not totally upset with that call. I think you got to be aggressive. That's what they're doing the whole time, and you just got to stick with that. The defense is playing lights out. They're stopping the Heisman winner right now from getting points and getting touchdowns. Yeah. So you got to trust your defense can get a stop, especially if they're backed up.
Snapped the longest streak in the history of the sport of 30-point performances. Alabama had 34 in a row, only scored 20 on Saturday night. LSU, though, comes one play short. 20-14 was the final. There's so much we got to get to, and we'll get to all of it in the second half with the change in defensive principles, bringing as much pressure as they did, the ability to stop the run like we have not seen really all year from this team. I mean, what was the most impressive thing you saw in the game?
I talk about it all the time, stopping the run. It just makes things so hard for you as an offense when constantly you're in 3rd down after 3rd down after 3rd down, and you see Alabama go 4 for 13 on 3rd down, which is you don't ever see because they're in manageable situation.
They're the best 3rd down team in the country.
Exactly, they're in manageable situations. Robinson actually has it going. This is probably their worst rushing performance that I can ever recall in recent memory. Alabama,
26 carries for 6 yards.
Yeah, that's not an Alabama football team. You never see them, rush the ball that inefficient. And so you do that to a team, and you force them to become something that they're not. And I love Bryce Young. He's a good quarterback, but he's not a drop back and throw it 50, 60 times a game. And we're Mississippi State, or we're one of these air raid offenses. They run a ton of play action. They get the run game going. They try to stay balanced, and that's just what we took them out of. And I've been preaching that all year long. Can we please just run a blitz? Can we please run a blitz? They start dialing it up, and you see what kind of problems that causes for college quarterbacks in these college teams. And they get a couple offensive linemen out like we've had to deal with all year, and then you saw what kind of chaos that created for them up front as well. So I love what we saw. It sucks that we had to wait till week 10 to see it, but I guess it's a start for the future, I guess.
Join us for the 16th annual Zoo Run. It's this Saturday, November 13th at Breck's Baton Rouge Zoo. You'll enjoy the scenery and the animals as you gallop your way through the zoo. All the proceeds support the zoo and international cheetah conservation efforts. Go to 1045ESPN.com today and sign up for a complimentary registration for the Zoo Run. All right, we're going to do as we do every Monday and throw things to campus. That's where we'll find Chris Blair, the voice of the Tigers, as well as Gordy Rush. They will talk about LSU's performance against Alabama and look forward to the matchup with Arkansas. And then we'll hear from LSU head football coach Ed Ogeron in his weekly press conference. We'll be back on the other side of that. Should last till just up about 12:45. Chris Blair will sign off. We'll come back, and we'll be with you from 1 to 2 talking about the performance in Tuscaloosa, what the hell happened to the Saints. The NFL was crazy. SEC action was nuts. All that football talk coming in the second hour. Looking very much forward to it. So let's step aside here for about 45 minutes and go to campus. That's where we'll find Gordy Rush and Chris Blair, part of the LSU Sports Radio Network.
A new week begins for LSU Fighting Tiger football.
Pressure comes, he unloads and intercepted! Derek Stingley's got it in the end zone!
This is the Coach O press conference.
We look forward to seeing our guys today on Tell the Truth Monday, getting back to playing LSU style of football.
Coming up, Coach O sets the tone for this week. But first, from inside the Capital One studios on the campus of LSU, here is former Tiger Gordy Rush and the voice of your Fighting Tigers, Chris Blair.
Good Monday once again, Tiger fans, as we get set for another college football Saturday coming up. The Tigers be back at home to finish out the rest of the regular season. It will start with another SEC matchup, this one with the Arkansas Razorbacks. Kickoff coming your way inside Tiger Stadium just after 6:30. But coming off a really thrilling game on Saturday, unfortunately, albeit in a loss, Alabama gets by 20-14 over LSU. It was no other way to describe it. It was a great college football game. And Gordy Rush, I don't know how many of us, to be perfectly honest, outside of the guys that were in that locker room, believed that it was going to be that type of game. Unfortunately, as I said, LSU comes up short, but it was really fun to be a part of that type of atmosphere, that type of battle.
No doubt. I don't think anybody on either sideline in terms of fans thought that. 29.5-point underdog, LSU came into the game. Even the feeling, Chris, of being outside Bryant-Denny Stadium, it didn't have the LSU-Alabama buzz, but how quickly that changed, especially when LSU jumped on top of them early. Look, credit Coach Orgeron and his staff. Number one, they were able to get the kids up and ready to play, short-handed after that open week. And then secondly, especially on the defensive side, Coach talked about self-scouting, right? He talked about some of the things that he saw and some of the things they had to change. What they did defensively, moving to a 3-4, playing multiple linebackers, meaning having Ojulari on the field, at times having him stand up and play outside backer, but inserting Mike Jones Jr. in full-time was huge. I mean, LSU did an incredible job stopping the run against, I think, the best NFL prospect they're going to play in Robinson, Brian Robinson Jr. He's a special running back, and he couldn't get going.
Yeah, and, when you hear and watch Alabama coming into this season, you always get this isn't quite the same defense of this particular year, or Alabama doesn't have the offensive line that they had in this particular year. This is a very good offensive line.
Oh, yes.
LSU got after them. And as I tweeted out when we landed on Saturday night here in Baton Rouge, they got whipped up front. I mean, they got whipped. They were confused. They had trouble picking things up. It was just an incredibly called game and executed game by the Tiger defense. Tip of the cap to Durante Jones and those guys going out there and executing. Mm-hmm. And when you look at the names we were calling time after time after time in that game, obviously some of the veterans who have been able to survive this season, Neil Farrell Jr. maybe playing better over the last couple of games than he has in his entire career. Damone Clark, again, making great plays, busting right through that offensive line to the ball carrier. But then on the back end of the defense, when you go through the list of guys that LSU put on the field, a hand clap for those guys. I mean, they played extremely well. They had really one bust. Yeah. And when you break down the game film, they didn't miss tackles. When they had a chance to make a tackle, wherever it was on the field, the Tigers made the tackle.
Think about it. Pick Cage is a guy that last time we saw him, had an outstanding second scrimmage 2 weeks before the opener. Came in, was playing nickel. At times was guarding Minchie man-to-man and really made some nice tackles in there. Ray Jones got thrown into action at the cornerback position. LSU down to third-string cornerbacks at times. The effort on the defensive side of football was fantastic. And as you mentioned, I think not only with the 3-4, but some of the stunts and the blitzing and LSU so much more aggressive than they had shown so far this season. Alabama simply was not prepared for that.
Again, I think if LSU gets that type of performance, that type of excitement, you can hold me to it, whatever the day is, November 8th, 2021. They play like that, they're going to win the next 3 games. They're going to win the next 3 games. If you get that type of defensive pressure and make those kind of tackles, have great coverage, especially across the middle of the field. That was at times impressive against a pretty good receiving corps for Alabama. I think LSU's in good shape over the next 3 weeks. Now, the big question is that the team that will arrive this Saturday, the one that played against Florida, the one that played against Alabama, and they can afford having the team that kind of struggled against Kentucky and obviously struggled against Auburn and struggled against Ole Miss?
Yeah, and that's the big question. These kids have been through so much. Obviously, everybody associated with the program has been through quite a bit this year. How are they going to bounce back? We've seen some incredible efforts against Florida and Alabama. We saw a quarter of football against Ole Miss. At Kentucky, obviously, they got behind in that football game, and they wasn't the kind of sort of effort you expect out of LSU teams. How did they respond after laying it all on the line in Tuscaloosa? That's essentially what they did, and bouncing back to play Arkansas. I can tell you normally, you know you're going to get in an Alabama game, Chris, from 1 to 10, you're going to get a 12 effort out of these kids. Arkansas is never a 12 effort. I've seen enough of them. Thankfully, we're playing in Baton Rouge. We're not playing in Fayetteville. It's not going to be 20 degrees. It's going to be reasonable, probably a nice night for football. So all that's not a factor. Hopefully, they're able to bounce back and give us similar type of effort Saturday night.
Now, look, follow me through this theory here. Obviously, you would like to have the guys, especially on defense, that you started the season with. There's no question about it. But there's one small silver lining in this, to your point about the type of effort you'll get. The guys who will go out on the field this coming Saturday against Arkansas, there is a lot for those guys to prove to a lot of people. So I still think you will get that type of effort. I think that coming off what you were able to do against Alabama in that atmosphere against that team and then carry that over, I think you're going to get the energy. And I believe you wholeheartedly that Arkansas takes this game a lot more seriously as a rivalry game, so to speak,
no doubt,
than LSU does.
No doubt.
But I think because these younger guys that were expected to play kind of spot roles this season are now out there starting and having to take 70, 80 snaps on defense, I think you're going to get the energy.
That's something to be said about, we go back to Pig Cage. I mean, this is a chance of a lifetime for Pig Cage to step up and play. You're seeing effort out of him. Mike Jones is finally getting a chance to play on the football field. He was fantastic. Damone Clark continues to be an incredible leader on the defensive side. Those seniors in the front seven, those upperclassmen have really brought a lot of energy and doing a great job of helping to lead the offensive side of the team. So I think you're going to get that sort of effort defensively. I think the storyline this week is offensively. You faced a good Alabama defense, a coordinator that is known for bringing pressure, for playing great bump and run, man-to-man defense out on the edge. She's the best at teaching that technique. And the passing game was inconsistent, right? Inconsistent against Alabama. They're going to have to be better for LSU to beat Arkansas on Saturday.
Let's start with the positives. There's a couple of things that rarely happen. Number one, going back to the defense, holding Alabama to 6 yards net rushing. I mean, that is unheard of. And that is what will drive a coach like Nick Saban crazy, because when you're up 20-7, typically that's when they go line up, run the football, move the chains, and you never get the ball back. And again, the defense did the job. 4 in a row, 3 and outs. I think 4 out of their last 5 possessions. So that's impressive. So 6 yards net rushing. Todd Polich did all the research. It goes back a long way, and it hasn't happened very often. Offensively, what also doesn't happen very often, Alabama was giving up about 89 yards on the ground per game this year on defense, and Ty Davis-Price, 104 yards rushing. It's very hard for any individual running back to score or rack up that type of yardage against an Alabama defense. And, he had the big play that set up the opportunity at the 8-yard line in the second half. But he also stuck with it. And I thought the offensive line, I want to give them credit because they stuck with it. 4 yards here, 5 yards here. When they needed 3 yards for a first down, they were able to get 6. I just thought they played really inspired football for a position group that's been much maligned most of the year.
Yeah, and the adjustments they've made, especially with that 11 package, meaning the 1 tight end, 1 running back with Mashburn and pulling, right? They finally found a scheme now that works. We see a whole lot of counters. And not only, look, you didn't have the big numbers like you did against Florida, which obviously not. That's a school record, what Davis-Price was able to do. But even it might not have been 5 or 6 yards, but it was 2, 3, 4 yards, and it was establishing that physicality, right, that you need to win in the SEC. I think first and foremost, it let Alabama know that LSU was here to play, and it was going to be a physical football game. And then secondly, obviously, when you run the football, the clock runs. And I thought LSU did a nice job throughout this game with time of possession and considering that you had the 2 turnovers, right, early in the game when it mattered that hurt you there. LSU still did a good job of maintaining possession and playing a little bit of keep away. And it got cold in the second half. And offensively, Alabama struggled after some of those LSU drives.
Yeah, I mean, and that's, again, I think going into the matchup, you had told me there were going to be 2 early turnovers on the road at Bryant-Denny Stadium against Alabama, and in the fourth quarter you would have a chance to win that football game. It would have been hard for me to believe. Now, I want to say this clearly. Our job on Saturday, Gordy, we describe what happens. It's not our job to say this is what should happen or this is what I think will happen. Literally, I'm there. Once it happens, I tell you about it. So, obviously, we all have a little bit of armchair quarterback when it comes to Sunday morning after an LSU game. But the one thing I'll say, and you touched on it during the broadcast even before kickoff, I had a chance to be around Ed, obviously, for his radio show. I just got a sense that when it came down to that game Saturday night, whatever the number said to win the game is what the call was going to be. It wasn't about tying the game. It wasn't about getting it to overtime. It was about winning the football game.
Yeah, I saw Coach O at the hotel on Friday, and he told me, whatever gadget play, whatever we need to do to win, kitchen sink. I mean, he's coming in playing with house money, had nothing to lose, and played with it. Look, the football percentages absolutely say you should have kicked the field goal and roll with it.
Sure, I understand the argument.
Being around Coach Ogeron, and if you watched on television, you saw the emotion that he poured into the game. Like, there was no doubt. There was no doubt. I was down on the field, and that so the fourth down came after the third down in which Max Johnson was fumbled, and then they overruled the turn because his arm was going forward, which was a correct call, and the defense was on the field. And soon as somebody in the press box realized it was going to get flipped, they radioed Ed. Ed was jumping up and down. He personally pulled the defense off the field, get the offense on the field. There was no special teams. There was no Cade York. He was going for it. And it's one of those things that, we're having a different conversation if LSU connects. Are they able to connect on that slant? Was it to Neighbors on that play? We're having a different conversation.
Yeah, I mean, it's a game of inches. We all know that. We've heard that since we followed the game of football. Couple of notes before we move ahead and look at the Arkansas game. And don't forget, coming up at the bottom of the hour, head coach Ed Ogeron. It's the Coach O press conference this week presented by Cox Communications. He'll talk about this past Saturday. I'm sure he'll get questions about this past Saturday, but something tells me he's going to quickly turn the page, try to get that same energy and results from his squad coming up against Arkansas. But Jack Mashburn, Jack Besh, one of the things you said during the broadcast on the radio was right now he's getting separation. Mm-hmm. Now, he didn't get all the targets. He got a couple, and the throws were off a little bit. Although he did make, I believe, 5 receptions in the game, if memory serves, 5 or 6. I had a touchdown, big touchdown, where, again, his yards after the catch. He made the catch at the 5. They had defenders there, but I just had a sense when he made the catch he was going to get to the end zone, and he did. But he was making separation. I mean, you're talking about a pretty good secondary there, and he was losing the nickel. How important is it to have Mashburn, who is a key cog in the running game, but also Besh out there when you do have RPOs, when you do want to go to the air?
And that's something I thought we would see both of them on the field at the same time. Of course, they're interchangeable parts playing that H-back, if you will. And here's what I think Besh brings you in the slot better than any other receiver that you have, is if you keep him on the field with Mashburn. First off, the nickel has to play straight up, right? And that's the toughest place to play bump and run, man-to-man, because you can't play a certain technique. Outside guys play inside technique because they have the sideline. So really, you just have to worry about one cut. You have to play him head up out of the slant. One, Besh is real polished in his route running. Secondly, he's really, really physical.
Yeah.
And he understands that when he's coming off the ball in his release, a lot of times he's going to go in there and make contact and able to get separation just because of how bulky he is. So the combination of both, I think he's your best operator out of the slot position as a wide receiver. I was hoping to see more of that and him making that transition in the open week because they had 2 weeks to prepare instead of him just being an interchangeable piece. We'll see if that's something maybe they introduce against Arkansas.
Yeah, we'll find out. Coach O may address it here in the press conference coming up in just a few moments. We're going to take a quick break. We come back. We'll kind of give you an overview of the Arkansas Razorbacks who come in this Saturday kickoff inside Tiger Stadium. just after 6:30. Fans, don't forget, you're finally back at home for a Tiger football game in almost a month, so bring some flavor to your game day with Tabasco hot sauce. Go Tigers and go Tabasco, the official hot sauce of LSU Athletics. The Coach O press conference presented by Cox Communication. More coming up after these quick words.
Do you have Medicare and make less than $1,615 per month? Or do you have Medicare and Medicaid? You may be eligible for extra benefits you're not getting now, and you may be able to enroll in a Medicare Advantage plan from People's Health. Don't wait. If you enroll in a Medicare Advantage plan from People's Health today, your benefits may begin the first day of next month. Call 1-855-410-7761. That's 1-855-410-7761. People's Health, your Medicare health team.
Your team is on a 3-game winning streak, and you're convinced it's because you've worn your lucky football jersey and haven't taken it off. Not for work, a wedding, or even bathing. With Cox, you can actually wear it all season long because we give you game day coverage and content 24/7. So join us and dress accordingly.
Hey, Tiger fans, just say Fan Zone into your Contour voice remote and enhance your game day experience all week long. Play games, win prizes. Cox, we're LSU fans 24/7.
Yo, Jake here live from the Bruley Patient Plus Urgent Care Clinic. That's right, they have the newest location in Bruley over here right across the river. This is their 8th convenient location now, and today is the grand opening. Me and Matt Musso are going to be out here all day. They've got refreshments, they've got walk-ons, they have got you taken care of. So come on through, check it out. Open Monday through Sunday, 9 a.m. until 9 p.m. We always tell you, get in and get better, because that's what you're going to get over here at Patient Plus. You've heard me tell the stories of my 4 boys, right? We've got stitches, we've got snotty noses, we've got whatever. Well, they get us in and they get us better all the time. And now you've got another location here in Bruley for that to be the case for you. Again, 38-minute PCR COVID test, something we always tell you about. You come in and in 38 minutes, you'll have that rapid test results ready for you. Patient Plus Urgent Care Clinic, get in and get better.
This is ESPN Radio.
Joey Votto, we got that 2,000 hit tonight.
The more I play here, the more I realize how lucky I am.
Victor Cruz. Press conference. Here again are Gordy Rush and Chris Blair.
Coach O going to join us in just a moment from the Lawton Room. Talk about this past Saturday and then set the tone for the week as LSU will host Arkansas. 6:30 kickoff inside Tiger Stadium. Not a lot of time here, Gordy. We talked so much about last week's game, but Arkansas, a team that certainly to start the year had all the buzz. Tripped up, had a 3-game losing streak there in the middle part after SEC play began, but now kind of finding it. They're kind of a team that likens themselves to a team of luck and fate. This is their year, and of course it worked this past Saturday as Mississippi State just couldn't find anybody to kick a field goal.
Unbelievable. They're having open tryouts right now. The Pirate, Mike Leach, said he's having open tryouts, so that'll be interesting over there, and maybe they're doing it at Duty Noble Field out there as we speak. But, yeah, Mississippi State unable to put that game away. Arkansas comes away a winner, 6-3 on the season. And, look, they're fundamentally sound. This is not a dynamic Arkansas team. They returned some key people from a year ago, and Sam Pittman's done a nice job of building Arkansas back away from being 2-10 the last 2 seasons.
It's interesting because they are a physical team. That's kind of what they do. They're very balanced. I listened to some of the guys on the SEC network talk about they are the stereotypical take what the defense gives you kind of offense, with Kendall Briles calling the plays as offensive coordinator. But it's almost when you look at the numbers that if you take away Treylon Burks, the incredible wide receiver, that the passing game really falls off a cliff. Now, of course, stopping Treylon Burks is easier said than done, but outside of that, he is the playmaker.
Well, Burks is 6'3", 225. He has 48 receptions on the year, 9 touchdowns. The next closest receiver has 16. That's a considerable drop-off. He is the go-to guy without a question for KJ Jefferson. But I think what they want to do is Kendall Briles is obviously one of the hottest names as an offensive coordinator in the business, was down there with Lane Kiffin at Florida Atlantic, had a cup of coffee at Florida State, and found his way up in Fayetteville and is here now. He's got KJ Jefferson, who I think is starting to grow and bake a little bit as a quarterback. This is a dual-threat quarterback. He's got 433 yards rushing, 4.7 per clip. And so you're going to see the zone read. You're going to see the RPOs. But when they have to, they're going to go to Burks. He's their big play guy.
I wanted to ask you the same thing I asked you last week on this very show. How do you try to contain Bryce Young? Do you want him getting loose in the pocket? Do you want to keep him in the pocket? Same question quickly for KJ Jefferson from what you've seen.
A lot of pressure. I mean, if I'm this new look LSU defense, I think the kids feel more comfortable attacking. You showed that you could cover on the back end. The question is, how do you handle Burks? For me, I almost want to run McLaughlin with him all over the football field. He's got size, and he can run with him.
Arkansas coming in to take on LSU. Again, kickoff at 6:30 inside Tiger Stadium. Hope to see you there. We'll go to the Lawton Room. Head coach Ed Ogeron addresses the media on the Coach O press conference presented by Cox Communications.
Saturday, all last week, I love the mindset of our team. Like I said, we went there to win the game. I really felt that we were a better team that night, and I still feel that way after watching the film. Just a couple plays short. Like I said in my press conference after, I wish we could have put our offense in better position to make some plays, especially on the 8-yard line down there. We had a chance to score. Really proud of our defense. For our defense to hold them to 26 points below their season average. First time in 34 games they didn't score 30 points. Dominated the run. Think about this, 6 yards rushing, tied for the lowest rushing yards in school history. And they've had some great football teams here that have gone there. And that's you got to give the credit to our players and give the credit to our defensive coaches for holding them to 6-yard rushing. I thought that was a phenomenal deal and shows that we are physically tough here at LSU. 4-13 on third down, 30%. They were first in the country. I just thought our defense whooped their offensive butt. I thought they did a great job. And Damone Clark and Neil Farrell played an outstanding job. But give the credit to our coaches. They fought hard. On special teams, we called it the St. Paul's, man. They practiced all week. Jack and Avery practiced it. Coach Mack put it together, and the situation came up. The first punt, we said we were around the 50. And it's 4th and 5 or less. We're going to call it. And we called timeout, and we got it called. And Avery ran up there screaming, run, run, run. It was executed perfect. What a great call by Coach Mack. And give credit to Avery and Jack and all the guys that ran the deal. It was a great play, and it was fun to see it, and it was fun to see us put in a position to score. On offense, we got work to do. You know, Ty Davis had 100 yards rushing. I really liked the way he ran the football, but we just couldn't get a steady pace ahead of the change. We fall behind the change, and their pass rush was too much for us at times, and we just didn't have a good enough plan. And this week we're going to let Max start, but we're going to put in Garrett. Garrett's going to get some plays. I already talked to him, and we're going to let the best man win. And, it's time to let Garrett play. He's a great quarterback. I like Max a lot. Max is still our starting quarterback, but I will give Garrett a chance. I talked to him. He wants to play, so he will play against Arkansas. And the guy that ends up playing the best is going to play the most. On Arkansas, Sam Pittman is a great coach, great offensive line coach. I'm so glad to see the job that he's doing at Arkansas. I'm happy for him. He's a good man. He's a hard-working man. He's a spread on offense. He's an offensive line that's very well coached. Big quarterback that's going to run the ball, hurry up offense, led by Traylon Burks. I recruited Traylon, a great basketball player, a great young man. I feel like he's one of the best players on the team, one of the best players in the SEC. On defense, their coach is a great coach, 3-2-5, 3-2-6 scheme with 5 returning starters, 24 points per game. They're very multiple. Trey Williams, defensive end, 55, leads them in sacks. Monteric Brown and Grant Morgan, outstanding players. This is a very well-coached team, a hard-playing team. Any questions?
Ed, good morning. Sorry, I'm losing my voice. With Garrett and Max, you kind of mean like they'll split reps in practice and that kind of thing? Yep. Or in the game they'll kind of both share time and then one will take over at some point?
Both. They'll split reps in practice, and we're going to play both Max and Garrett. Max is going to start, but I'm going to give Garrett significant snaps at the beginning of the game, and then we'll see how it goes.
Hey, Coach, after 9 games this year, do you feel like offensively you don't have an identity or things you can hang your hat on, or how do you look at your offense?
Yeah, it sort of looks like that, to be honest with you. I wish we had more of an identity of what we're doing. Things break down. Obviously, I thought our run game came alive against Florida. Our protection, we're still having problems in our protections. We're still not efficient on third down. That's more or less some play calling, more or less some execution.
Hey, Coach, up here to your left. Obviously, you kind of alluded to it in your opening statement about being encouraged about the way you played.
Yeah.
Obviously, raising the level for Alabama is one thing. How confident are you that they can carry this into the remainder of the schedule?
I feel good about it. I feel good about the mindset of the team. Tommy and Moffitt, we always work out on Monday morning. The team was great this morning. I told them, hey, you play like this, we may win the rest of our games and go to a bowl, and they deserve that. But we got to take it one at a time. Arkansas is a very good team. They have a very good record. But I think this team's going to finish strong. I see a lot of fight in them. I see a lot of guys getting opportunity, like Sony Fanu getting opportunity, wanting to playing their butts off. There's a lot of older guys, Neil Farrell. They came back to have a good year, and this means a lot. Not only the record, but these guys are playing to go to the NFL, and they want to have a good showing.
And how much will the Max and Garrett split be the theme going forward for the quarterback situation?
Yeah, it'll be 50-50 in practice. We'll let them split it, and we haven't decided. Jake and I talked about it this morning. We haven't decided exactly how we're going to do it in the game. It may be first quarter, second quarter, maybe a couple series. This series, it all depends how practice goes, depends how the game plan is. But we'll see. We'll see. If Max plays better than Garrett, he's going to be the starter. If Garrett plays better than Max, he's going to be the starter. We'll let him battle it out.
Hey, Coach. Is blitzing, as much as you did in the Alabama game, is that going to continue to be a part of the game plan? And was having a lot of starters out of the secondary kind of the reason for that?
It was a combination of both. We felt that we weren't playing the run very well in our base 4-3 defense, so we wanted to give them different looks. What we did, we stemmed out of a 3-4 look a lot of times, which gave them problems. They weren't ready for it. We're going to continue to do that. We're going to continue to expound on our blitz package and see where it takes us. But it is good. It's a combination of both. We have a package that we show a bare front, but we drop 8, which is good with 3-man rush. And we have one we're playing zero coverage. We never played zero coverage since I've been the head coach here. And it was a reason for the sack fumble at the end. It worked very well. Now you're gambling. You're playing zero coverage. One busted coverage is a touchdown. But yes, we're going to continue to do it.
Ed, you talked last week, I believe, about Garrett has he had the opportunity to redshirt or the opportunity to play more. In the discussion, just talk about the discussions with him to go forward with this plan. How much he's eager to try to play, because he could end up burning the whole year.
Yeah,
obviously.
he was mad. He didn't play. And I talked to his father, Doug, who I respect a lot, and we had talked on Thursday. They had to be snaps where they were significant, and that if we put him in, he's going to play the rest of the year. And I didn't feel that was time to throw him in there for a couple of plays and then us burn his redshirt year. I didn't want to do that to him. And he came in the office yesterday and was adamant about playing. His father called Jake and says, listen, hey, here's the plan. He wants to play. Let him play. So that's what we're doing. So obviously it looks like right now he may not redshirt. It all depends on how the game goes, but that's his choice, and that's what he wants to do.
Coach, could you go over the 2 4th-down plays late in the game on the goal line, and then the one to Besh, like looking at the film and what you went over with Max? And some people say Max holds the ball a little too long, but all the hits he's taken too, is that causing him to be a little quick with the passes?
Max has done very well taking some hits, and he's completed some balls, and he's hung in there like a man. Sometimes he does hold the ball too long. Jack was open, the ball was high. True. And he had pressure on him, but Jack was open. If the ball was a little bit lower, Jack would have called it. I thought it was a good call. The ball was too high.
Couple of things, Ed.
Is it a mechanics thing with Max that it seems like a lot of those balls were sailing on him, one? And two, in this situation, sometimes coaches can't get players to play hard, but you've managed to do that. What do you attribute that to?
Well, it was Alabama LSU, number one. And we knew we had to play lights out just to stick with them. We knew that. And we're prepared to do that. I think the end of the year, some people may be looking to quit the year and had enough. I don't see that in this team. I don't see that in me for sure. I'm gonna enjoy all these 3 weeks every day. Love coaching for the Tigers, and I think when you have proper leadership, that this team is going to finish strong. You got guys like Damone Clark, Neil Farrell, Ty Davis coming around. These guys want to finish strong, so I'm not worried about that. With Max, it is mechanics sometimes, but it is a matter of his proper reads. Where should he go according to the coverage? Sometimes he's doing it right, sometimes he's doing it wrong.
Coach, not a lot of people had seen the animation from you on the sideline Saturday. Is this what you were talking about, the weight lifted off, and is it just you having more fun? And why haven't you been like that previous to this year, do you think?
That's a good question. You know what? Just going into that stadium, there had been so much made of the statement that I made, and they were going to do this to me and all that stuff. I just wanted to compete, and I love competing. And I don't take things said about me personally. I don't take that lightly. I can't say nothing about it, but I can do something about it. And neither I or our team was intimidated by anybody, and I mean anybody, on the sideline of Alabama or in the stadium. We went there to win. No disrespect to them. Great coaches, great team, great fans, but we were not going to go in there and get intimidated. So that's what you saw. Good question.
Ed, just injury updates for the week. Mason, Cordell, Sage, Major, any of them could come back?
Yeah, Sage is not going to be back. We may get Mason back the last game. I don't know yet. We should get Cordell Flott back this week. The rest of the guys are going to be okay. Some of the guys are limited right now, but those are the guys that I know for sure. Sage and Mason will not play this week.
With so many starters out on your defensive line, but you still have Neil Farrell, Glenn Logan, but you've had a couple of young guys like B.J. Ojulari and Jacqueline Roy contribute this season. What have you seen out of those two younger guys? What do they bring to the table?
Yeah, B.J. is a force, and he's a force on special teams too. Outstanding player. All B.J. ever says is yes, sir. He's a great young man. Great worker. I've seen a lot of maturity in Jacqueline Roy. I feel that both of those young men have a chance to be high draft picks. I've seen Jacqueline Roy learn his craft, come to work, is in better condition, has a great attitude towards work all day. So if he continues that, I think he's ended up being a great player here. And also Sonny. You look at Sonny. Sonny's played tackle, nose, end for us. He finally got his chance to start. He was in the big game. He loved it. He did very well. I'm so happy for those guys that kept on fighting.
Coach, after the way the year has gone, how much would it mean to the team to make a bowl game?
It mean a lot. I think it mean a lot. And it starts with Arkansas. You know what I'm saying? I think that these guys want to keep on playing. I think it's good for the team. I think it's good for the younger guys to have 15 extra practices. There's a lot of guys with the skills we can get better at. I think it would be good for everybody. As long as it has blue water and white beaches.
I know it's been probably a couple weeks since we asked you about this, but do you guys expect to have Derek Stingley back at all this year?
Not that I know of. I haven't heard anything different. Nothing has changed that I know of.
Coach, Kayshon Boutte been out of the lineup for a while, but do you feel like you're still kind of trying to make up for his absence in terms of explosive plays?
Yeah, he's a dominant player. It's hard to replace that guy. Not that other guys are not as good. They just haven't come as fast as Kayshon has. Kayshon's a dominant player. He's just like those guys who just went to the NFL. He's a first-round pick. He's a great route runner, speed, strong hands. We haven't replaced him, no doubt. But we have some young guys that I think eventually are going to be as good.
Ed, I know you started your coaching career basically at Arkansas as an assistant strength coach 35 years ago.
Yeah.
Could you have imagined back then, what were you hoping that your career would be? And it could, obviously, I'm sure you're just looking for a foot in the door, right, at that point. Could you have imagined what this journey would be like, good and bad, throughout your career?
Think about this. I went there. I made $25 every 2 weeks. That was my check. I lived in the dormitory. And I remember going, man, you get to eat, so I could go and eat. And then I walked there on Saturday morning, and I saw something white, a big bowl of white stuff. And I asked my partner, I said, what is that? He said, that's gravy. I said, no, gravy ain't white where I'm from. But, it was a great experience. My first time in Division I football. They let me be a strength coach. I was assistant strength coach, really a GA. Then Coach Hatfield brought me on the field. I worked with Coach Hatfield and Coach Goldsmith. And then they taught me how to break down film. I was always there early in the morning. I worked with Coach Hatfield on special teams. It was a wonderful experience. And that experience at Arkansas got me to be a G at Miami because those guys knew Coach Johnson in Tuberville. So it was a great connection. It was a great springboard. No, I never dreamed all this stuff was happening. I'm very thankful. And I loved Arkansas. I really have. Dean Weber hired me there. He's still a good friend of mine. Coach Hatfield will come have breakfast with me when we go up there. I made a lot of great friends. It's a great place.
Coach, assuming you guys become bowl eligible, these guys that are out for the year but not serious injuries, these lingering things, will any of them be healthy for the bowl?
Hopefully. We haven't gone that far, but I think Mason Smith is a guy that maybe the last game he's going to be healthy. I think there's a couple of guys that could be. I don't think Kayshawn will be, nothing like that, or Elias, or I don't expect Derek to be there. But maybe a couple of other guys will get healthy. We haven't been that far. We haven't gone that far. Anybody got? All right, thank you, guys. Have a good day. Go Tigers.
Coach Ed Ogeron with the Coach O press conference today, brought to you by Cox Communications. And just this interesting note, is it just me, or does it seem like Coach O's having fun? I know it's a tough loss. A loss is a loss, but a little lighter in today's press conference. I think thrilled with his team's performance and excited about what they can do starting this coming Saturday when they host a really good team in the Arkansas Razorbacks, a team that's going to come in here certainly with all of the momentum and all of the mindset of defeating LSU. That's what they do whenever they get a chance to play LSU. But for the Tigers, will they be able to match it and then some? We'll just have to wait and see. We'll take a timeout. When we come back, we'll set the rest of the broadcast schedule for the week and send you on your way. It's the Coach O press conference presented by Cox Communications.
Support your LSU Tigers with Hancock Whitney, the official bank of LSU Athletics. From game day to the offseason, Hancock Whitney LSU credit and debit cards are a big win for any Tiger fan. Want to get your paws on these cards? Well, apply online or visit HancockWhitney.com/LSU. Hancock Whitney Bank, member FDIC. All accounts subject to credit approval. Terms and conditions may apply.
Our Lady
Yo,
of the
Jake
Lake,
here for
just
Patient
like
Plus
LSU,
Urgent Care
is
Clinic. Are you in need of a rapid COVID test? Patient Plus has a rapid nasal swab test at any of their 7 convenient locations. You'll get your results in only 15 minutes. Get to PatientPlusUC.com to hold your place in line. Also, don't forget any emergency needs, stitches, runny nose, or a sore throat, Patient Plus is the only choice. Open 7 days a week from 9 a.m. until 9 p.m. Patient Plus Urgent Care Clinic. Get in and get better.
Shantae, can you sweep that, please?
Mina's salon business is growing faster than she can keep up with. She needs a new shop manager before her bookings go out of style.
Curtain bangs and balayage would look so good on you. Just hang on one second. Can you please answer that?
Indeed can help her hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Instant Match instantly connects you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your sponsored job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
This
is ESPN Radio. Joey Votto got that 2,000 hit tonight.
The more I play here, the more I realize how lucky I am.
Victor Cruz, Super Bowl champ.
I just wanted to feel special this morning, guys.
Charlotte Flair, the 13-time WWE champion.
Hey, guys. Alan Faneca, Hall of Fame class of 2021.
I've been waiting, let's do it.
Super Bowl champion Donald Driver.
I love the game. I watch the game more now than I did when I actually played.
Drew Bledsoe, Super Bowl champion.
Keyshawn, if I ever stop.
It just means more.
This is the Coach O Press Conference.
Want to remind you, fans, you get your chance to talk with head coach Ed Ogeron coming up Wednesday night, 7 o'clock, the Ed Ogeron Show live from TJ Ribs. If you can't make it out to the restaurant, you're welcome to call in or even tweet us a question. And if you haven't downloaded the LSU Sports mobile app, here's the invitation to do so, because each Wednesday you can submit a question through the mobile app. Coming up on Saturday, we'll get our broadcast day started at 4:30 with LSU Game Day presented by Your View. We'll have the guys get the day started. It'll be nice to be back at Tiger One Village. It'll be nice to be back at Tiger Stadium. Hopefully the weather is going to agree with us. We'll keep an eye on that as we get closer. But at 4:30, LSU Game Day presented by Your View. It'll be Hunt Palmer, Brandon Taylor, Marlon Favorite. They'll break down the matchup and then hand it off to Gordy Rush, Doug Morrow, and myself inside Tiger Stadium for the play-by-play action of LSU hosting Arkansas. Kickoff again just after 6:30. Thanks to Gordy Rush for always sitting in, and to you for joining us. And we'll be back here next week, same time, same channel. Until then, this is Chris Blair. So long, everybody, and go Tigers.
This has been the Coach O Press Conference. For the very latest, follow LSU football on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, or log on to lsusports.net. The LSU Sports Radio Network, a division of LSU SP and Playfly Sports.
Yo, Jake here for Patient Plus Urgent Care Clinic. Are you in need of a rapid COVID test? Patient Plus has a rapid nasal swab test at any of their 7 convenient locations. You'll get your results in only 15 minutes. Get to PatientPlusUC.com to hold your place in line. Also, don't forget any emergency needs, stitches, runny nose, or a sore throat, Patient Plus is the only choice. Open 7 days a week from 9 a.m. until 9 p.m. Patient Plus Urgent Care Clinic. Get in and get better.
Shantae, can you sweep that, please?
Mina's salon business is growing faster than she can keep up with. She needs a new shop manager before her bookings go out of style.
Curtain bangs and balayage would look so good on you. Just hang on one second. Can you please answer that?
Indeed can help her hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Instant Match instantly connects you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your sponsored job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
This is ESPN Radio. Joey Votto got that 2,000 hit tonight.
The more I play here, the more I realize how lucky I am.
Victor Cruz, Super Bowl champ.
I just wanted to feel special this morning, guys.
Charlotte Flair, the 13-time WWE champion.
Hey, guys. Alan Faneca, Hall of Fame class of 2021.
I've been waiting, let's do it.
Super Bowl champion Donald Driver.
I love the game. I watch the game more now than I did when I actually played.
Drew Bledsoe, Super Bowl champion.
Keyshawn, if I ever stopped yelling at you, then you would think I didn't care.
Terrence Bud Crawford, the WBO welterweight champion.
I just know in my heart that I can beat him.
Cowboys legend and now Hall of Fame wide receiver Drew Pearson.
So now that I'm in Canton, I don't even think I used the airplane to get here.
Justin Herbert, Los Angeles Chargers quarterback.
A lot of fun last year, but a lot more room to grow.
Lane Kiffin joins us, Ole Miss head coach.
A big part of my motivation was he, because he sends me pictures when I'm on TV of how fat I am.
When it comes to talking sports, we'll be all you ever need. 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Think staying hydrated is just for the summer? Think again. The end of summer marks the beginning of cold and flu season. When you're sick, your body is prone to dehydration symptoms, including headaches and body aches. Get relief with MyHigh, a liquid electrolyte mix that keeps you hydrated to support your recovery. MyHigh has 3 to 6 times the electrolytes of competitors, less than half the sugar, and no artificial flavors, colors, or sweeteners. Rise like an eagle this flu season with hydration that soars. Order your MyHigh today at drinkmyhigh.com.
Run like a cheetah to our 16th annual Zoo Run Run. This 2-mile race and half-mile kids fun run will take place November 13th at Breck's Baton Rouge Zoo. At the event, you'll enjoy the scenery and the animals as you gallop your way through the zoo. Best of all, every single participant receives a medal. All proceeds support the zoo and international cheetah conservation efforts. Register now at brzoo.org. That's November 13th at the Brex Baton Rouge Zoo. Run like a cheetah to the 16th annual Zoo Run Run.
Hey, it's Musso, and we're hanging out here at Patient Plus Urgent Care's grand opening of now their 8th location, 409 Oak Plaza, Bruley, Louisiana. Got a bunch of stuff going on here, man. Got walk-ons out here as well, serving up some lunch for everybody. People continuing to show up. It's the 8th location, still going to be open 7 days a week, 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. First time they ventured across the river, rolling out Ahmed Light here as well, which is going to end up allowing for DOT drug screens, DOT alcohol tests. They're keeping it right in the front of the clinic as well, so it keeps you separate from the rest of everything that happens here, whether that be if you got your cold symptoms, your flu symptoms, or whatnot, broken bones, x-rays, everything they can do for you at Patient Plus Urgent Care. Now also Ahmed Light occupational medicine is taking place here as well. We'll be hanging out all day, well, at least from 11 to 1. Patient Plus Urgent Care grand opening, 8th location, 409 Oak Plaza in Bruley, Louisiana.
Shante, can you sweep that, please?
Mina's salon business is growing faster than she can keep up with. She needs a new shop manager before her bookings go out of style.
Curtain bangs and balayage would look so good on you. Just hang on one second. Can you please answer that?
Indeed can help her hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Instant Match instantly connects you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your sponsored job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
All Natural CBD has so many amazing benefits. It helps with aches and pains. It can help if you have trouble sleeping at night. Even helps with stress. And former Tiger great Lewis Coleman has introduced Kentucky's Best Hemp online at kysbesthemp.com. That's kysbesthemp.com. All natural CBD capsules, oils, cream, salve, and even their super popular gummy. Save 30% with the promo code ESPN30. That's ESPN30 at kysbesthemp.com.
1045 WNXX Jackson, 1049 KNXX Donaldsonville, and WDGL HD2 Baton Rouge. This hour is brought to you by Spencer Callahan Injury Lawyers.
1, 2, 3. Hunt and Hill. Hunt Palmer, Jeremy Hill, holding down the middle of the day. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio, it's Hunt and Hill. Now on 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Back with you here on a Monday at Ogeron press conference in the books. Coach O kind of shooting from the hip a little bit looser, a little more, gregarious than normal. But I guess the biggest story from the Coach O press conference is quite obvious. Garrett Nussmeier came into the office on Sunday and was upset that he didn't get a chance to play. And apparently Doug Nussmeier, Garrett's dad, called the staff and said, hey, let's burn that red shirt. Let's roll. So Ed Ogeron comes to the mic and says, Garrett Nussmeier is going to play on Sunday. I don't know if that sequence of events is the healthiest thing in a football program, but at this point, the coach has been terminated. We're running out the season, so I guess we just gotta play by those rules. So interesting that we'll see both quarterbacks on Saturday.
I did some deep thinking on this one. Are we winging it to this point? Like, are we just waking up and winging it? Like, I don't know. I don't know if that's the best decision at this point, but hey, I guess why not? I mean,
the thought was, and this is from Ed Ogeron a couple weeks ago, that Garrett Nussmeier wanted his ability to redshirt. And that means you can only play in 4 games. He has played in 3. So if you play him in a game, that'll be the 4th. And then if he still wants that red shirt and Max against Texas A&M sprains his ankle or his helmet comes off, Garrett's next up. And you would then burn your red shirt because you'd play in a 5th game. Doesn't appear that that's the case anymore in terms of what Garrett Nussmeier's desires are. He wants the opportunity to play. So he will. If you go back to the game on Saturday, Max did not play well. I don't. There's not really another way to say it. Now, the interception was a heck of a play by the Alabama defense. Christian Harris got his hand on a ball and popped free, but he missed a couple of throws over the middle. He had happy feet a little bit, which is understandable behind an offensive line that's been poor all year. But he didn't necessarily step into his throws all that often. And look, he got popped a lot. And it's pretty easy for the fat radio guy to sit here and criticize somebody for not stepping into throws. I get that that's It's two different worlds. But he did have some opportunities late in the game on some big plays to stand in there, take a shot, and make a throw, and he wasn't accurate in those times. It's a very hard thing to do, but it's the reality.
Yeah, it's a lot easier said than done when you got 6'5", 200-pounders coming off the edge. You got guys like Will Anderson coming off the edge. It sounds good to, do a little armchair quarterbacking, but I think the quarterback play has to be better. I think there's time and time again, there are opportunities out there to just extend drives and hit guys, and we're just not doing those. I don't want to, rag on Max too hard right now, but that game was right there for the taking. It was right there for the having, and you see Max continue to put these low QBRs up. Low completion percentage, games up. We just got to be more efficient. I think just can't connect. We can't even hit screen passes. Just everything just seems off right now. So I think for Nuss, I think you're getting that itch when you see there's plays to be had. You see guys like Jeray Jenkins running down the field wide open by himself, and there's enough time for you to get the ball to him. It's just all those things for a gunslinger like Nuss. It probably has him licking his chops, so he feels like he can help this team win football games. And I think at this point, why not?
It's tough when you're watching the TV copy of the game to evaluate what a quarterback sees and doesn't see. Often on Saturday, Max reached the top of his drop, planted his back foot, and the ball did not come out. Now, there's nobody open. The ball can't come out. But I can't tell that because I got a TV camera that's just showing me the backfield. So I don't know if he was missing guys, if there are miscommunications, if LSU's not winning on their routes, if the design's not good and everybody's covered. I can't do that. But I know that a crisp, efficient passing game is going to come in rhythm and timing, and when he hits the back of his drop, the ball's going to come out. It just didn't far too often on Saturday.
Yeah, I think it's when normally things are going wrong, it's not just one thing you can pinpoint to. It's a lot of things, and obviously I think the offensive line played a lot better. You see, TDP, I would have never guessed he'd have 100 yards rushing, and found a way to get that done, found a way to convert on a ton of fourth and short times where you normally don't even convert those. You normally don't get those. You find a way to get pushed. You find a way to convert those and extend drives. So, man, it's just a tough, feeling to have when, you've had guys open, you see guys open, you see Jack open on the fourth down conversion. You had Palmer in the end zone. If you just get that ball a little lower, maybe he has a chance to get two hands on it. But time and time again, we just can't convert consistently enough to be efficient enough to score enough points. And you saw that rear its ugly head in the fourth quarter.
All right, let's talk about the defense. We have very often talked about how, quote-unquote, vanilla the defense has been all year. You line up in it, that's what it is. And then Ed Ogeron said last week that it's too late in the season to really overhaul things and put new things in of significance. And then all of a sudden you turn around, LSU was coming from everywhere on Saturday. Blitzes on every down from different places, different people. I didn't even recognize them. They got guys running free on Bryce Young a lot of the night.
Yeah, that's what we've been asking for all season, and I was mind boggled by that all year. That you have Division I athletes, their job is to go to class and do football, and you can't find a way to just put in 5 or 6 blitzes. Like we can't. Are we not running them? What is going on? Because you see what we're doing is not working, and you hold Alabama to 4 and 13 on third downs. That's because you are getting in exotic looks. I actually, when they did hire Durante, I had no quarrels with it because I saw what that defense is capable of. When you saw those looks that they lined up in on third downs with everyone at the line of scrimmage, that gives offensive linemen fit. They have to point out each guy. They don't know where they're coming from. They doesn't know who's dropping, and you can do so many multiple things out of those looks, and that's all I was asking them to do, and you saw the success they had doing that.
No, for sure. It was shocking how often they got back there and got to Bryce Young, and if there was one game where I thought they wouldn't do that, it would have been this one. Maybe Ole Miss with Corral and as good as he can be. But no, these really good quarterbacks that put up all these huge numbers, they thrive on the blitz. You're leaving me single coverage all over the place. And then in this game, you don't even have your DBs. You've got Pig Cage and Cam Lewis and Darren Evans. This was the line of the night on the TV broadcast. They got on the long touchdown to Robinson, they had him on Cam Lewis. And Kirk Herbstreit says on the broadcast, that must be a bust because there's no way they'd have Cam Lewis on Robinson. Kirk, we don't have anybody else. That's all we got is Cam Lewis. Like, we don't have any other corners. Yeah. We got Pig first third down of the game. They're working on Pig Cage. I'll be quite honest. I don't even know if I knew he was on the team before the game. I cover the team. I've been to practice. I don't even know. So no, there's no bust. That's what we got. So it was it was a situation where I didn't think blitzing was something they would do much of at all. They did it routinely. Do you think now that that's a sign of things to come the next couple weeks?
Oh yeah, I'm very encouraged by that, and I think the biggest question mark you have as a coach and as a coordinator is when I do call these blitzes, when I do dial it up. Can I trust the back end? Can I trust guys are going to be assignment sound and not screw these things up and give up touchdowns? And you saw our C and D team almost, our walk-ons getting out there and really holding up against a tough Alabama offense. But like you said, been scoring 30 like no one's business. So I think that was a heroic effort from the defense. I think they just played unbelievable from the beginning of that game to the end. And they got really helped out by just really switching the defense up, doing more run blitz. I think you don't see Alabama have the struggles in the run game. We did run blitzes too on early downs as well. I think that was huge.
One thing that bummed me out a little bit is that Alabama pretty clearly played their D game on Saturday. I mean, you're talking about these penalties, not being ready for the punt. They're burning timeouts. They had to delay a game at one point. This stuff you're just not used to seeing Alabama do. They had a drop early in the game. And that's like, I would like you to play the D game when we've got a team that's competing for a championship. Yeah. It seems like when we're really good, they show up and play great. Now, in 2019, they did screw up some. They dropped a punt. The punter dropped the ball one time, and like they had some significant screw-ups in the game in 19. But so often they play like their A game against LSU, and it's infuriating. But we finally got them to play a crappy game, and we're not good enough to make it hurt because we're out of players. That was one thing that was like it kept coming to me on Saturday.
Yeah, if there was a time Alabama were going to lay down, it would be in this environment that we've created for ourselves as LSU fans, just being 4-4 going into that game. Obviously, no head coach, the amount of injuries we've had, I'm sure they felt like they were just going to walk through us and we'd lay down and it'd be over by halftime. And they found themselves in a real ball game. And they found themselves having to convert and having to do things to put themselves in a position to win that game and not give it away. And they played big. You got to tip your cap to them. Obviously, that wasn't their best brand of football they played all year, especially if you look at their rushing attack and just how they didn't get a run game going, but to still find a way to win that game just goes to show you why they're Alabama.
Strong roughing performance from LSU. They committed to it. They stuck with it. They ran it 40 times in the game for 104 yards. TDP ran it for 4.5 yards a carry. It's an Alabama defensive front that's a little bit lighter than normal, but LSU hadn't shown they were capable of running the ball except for one 4-hour stint against Florida, who ended up firing their defensive coordinator today. But it was impressive to watch LSU get the running game going.
Yeah, that's something that we kind of pointed to this Alabama team this year is that they don't have those big guys in there. They don't have the Terrence Cody's, the Marcel Darius, and
they got
Jonathan
Will Anderson.
He's a stud. He's a stud. But the thing about him, he's coming off the outside. He's coming off the edge. So you got some matchups in the inside. I think our interior guards. I think Chasen, he played well. That's the best I've seen him play all year, and he really did a good job not getting pushed back. I think Shanahan did a good job, and Ingram played well as well. So I think that was a huge job for them to keep us in the game. I think if you don't see that success in the running game, that thing could have probably slipped out of hand, given them more possessions and more opportunities to go on drives. But you kept them off the field. You kept yourself in the game. You gave yourself an opportunity to win, and that's a place that nobody thought you would be in the fourth quarter.
The defense for LSU, we're bouncing all over the place as I continue to go through some of my notes here. The defense for LSU only allowed 2 running plays of 10 or more yards, and they were both Bryce Young scrambles. So on designed runs, Alabama never found anywhere to go. Kentucky ran for 3 bills on this team. UCLA ran whenever, wherever they wanted to. Bama couldn't. I can't explain what we watched on Saturday. I really can't.
Yeah, I think the only thing I can really point to is obviously, Alabama losing some guys on the offensive line, having to move some people around, moving, guys to center that play tackle and things of that nature. That I think that may have a little to do with it. But I think that the big thing for me, I think, is dialing it up on defense, not just lining up 4 down and 2 linebackers, stacked up and safeties back, just really, not being scared to blitz a corner, not being scared to, run blitz early on early down situations and make things tough and make that offensive line really have to, point guys out and try to fly around with these, SEC linebackers that we have. So big tip in my cap to Durante Jones. I'm so happy we started dialing up. It's giving me a little more hope for the rest of the season.
That's where we're going to go next to talk about where this team goes from here. So let's take a timeout, come back with more on Hunt and Hill.
Serving up the latest from the sports world. It's Hunt and Hill.
FanDuel. Sports betting coming to Louisiana. No better app, no better place than FanDuel. You get $100 in free credits when you sign up with the promo code WNXX. The app is so easy to use. It's easy to register. It's easy to deposit your money. Easy to find your bets. Very navigable. They give you a boost every single day. Get your better odds. And on the weekends, they've got super boosts. Want to get involved in that. If you're watching the game, you want a live bet, you can do that on the FanDuel Sportsbook app. It's the easiest place to bet during the game and put a live bet down. The app, again, so easy to use. They're always hooking you up with great offers, and when you win, you get paid in as little as 2 hours. That's the most important thing, right? FanDuel Sportsbook is safe, secure, 100% legal, and regulated. You must be 21 or older and present in Louisiana. The bonus is issued on a non-withdrawable site credit that expires 7 days after FanDuel accepts its first real money sports wager in Louisiana. It's unique user-friendly identification is required to offer ends on the go live date. Restrictions do apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-877-770-STOP.
We opened up the playbook and expanded our coverage. Listen daily in high definition on 98.1 HD2. We are 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Our topic today is about savings. What is savings?
Hancock Whitney isn't just a bank for our clients. We're investing in our hometowns, making life better for everyone. So keep dreaming. We've got your back.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
If you're in an accident, a car accident, a slip and fall where you're injured, you need to call an attorney. The defendant insurance company, it's their goal to close the case as quickly as possible and pay out the least amount of money as possible. That's why it's important to call an attorney and call the law office of O.C. Brown.
At the law office of O.C. Brown, we're a family-owned firm. We want to be your law firm for a lifetime.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
Starting in 1974, Central Plumbing has served Baton Rouge and surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Through these tough and trying times, we want you to remember that the Payne family is here to...
Coming up on Tuesdays Off the Bench, we turn the page to a new week of football. The Tigers play host to the Razorbacks, and the Saints travel to Nashville to take on the Titans. And a brand new OTB mailbag. Off the Bench, 7 to 10 a.m., 104.5 ESPN.
This is Hunt and Hill on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
We'll give him this. T-Bob can cut a promo. He just said the Saints travel to Nashville to take on the Titans. What?
I guess that's a new franchise we never heard of. Yeah, man. T-Bow's golden. Gotta love him.
He's a special, special guy. All right. LSU moving forward here. I guess the question was how much life would they have? How much energy would they have? And you could have convinced me before the game that you wouldn't even really know. Alabama could win the game by 40 points, and I wouldn't know if it was an effort issue or just they weren't good enough. It was difficult. But the fight was obvious. I mean, they came ready to play. And the sentiment that we've seen on Twitter from guys like Neil Farrell are that they're not going to slow down. They're going to play, and they're going to fight. And they have every opportunity not to. They are below 500. Their coach has been fired. They could pack it in, but the fight was encouraging. The question is that simply a product of playing Alabama and knowing what you're in for? And does that change when the Razorbacks come out of the tunnel? I guess we'll just have to wait and find out.
Man, this has been one of the more difficult teams to predict week in and week out. You never know what you're going to get. You never know who's going to show up. You never know what brand of football you're going to get. You know, after that Florida game, you're going to Ole Miss like, man, we got a run game now. Like, we're playing ball. Like, and then you get ran off the field, and then you show up and you play Alabama the way you did. So I don't know. Honestly, if I was trying to point to a direction, I would have no idea. It's just so tough this one, especially with the guys in and out of the lineup. But I think that was very encouraging to watch them fight and play that hard and to see the way they did. So I think they see what they can do, especially you play with the number 2 team in the country the way you did. You feel like you can, play with anyone. So I think that was a boost of confidence for everyone in that building.
Well, let's just rewind it and go through it, because I don't know why anyone would even listen to this show when I rattle off these things. Going into the Kentucky game, you're thinking, okay, Kentucky can't really throw the ball. LSU's stopped the run pretty well the last couple of weeks. So I think it's a pretty good matchup. Kentucky, I think LSU will be able to stay in a low score. Kentucky runs for 330 yards. Like, we just totally whiffed on everything. LSU couldn't really move the football. It was absolutely ridiculous. So then you come into the Florida game and you're thinking, well, I mean, these teams are running like crazy on them. LSU can't run the ball at all. You set a school record for rushing the ball. Well, then you go to Ole Miss, like, okay, well, they kind of figured something out on running the ball, so they'll probably get things going. Ole Miss's defense hadn't stopped anybody all year. Can't run it worth a flip. You run it for 2.5 yards a carry. Got blown out. Didn't know anything. So then you go into Alabama and you think, well, this is going to be a 40-point blowout, and they play it right to the end. It's just everything we've thought entering games has been completely flipped on its head.
Yeah, that's exactly the pattern that I picked up about this football team. And honestly, I can't blame them because, you got guys getting injured week in and week out, obviously the coaching situation, and then it's just everything that's been around this program all year. It's just kind of been a cloud, and it's really hard, and you find ways to get motivated, and then sometimes you're not there. So I can't blame the kids. It's just what can go wrong has gone wrong with this team, and it's just been a tough environment. But I'm super encouraged by the way they fought, man. I really didn't think they would fight that hard and really, give it, everything they had to try to really go on the Bryant Denny and do something special. I think that would have really, really changed just the way everyone felt around here, felt to win that program. If you find a way to win that game with everything surrounding the program, that would have just been so huge. But I'm still not poo-pooing them going out there and playing the way they did. That was a great thing they did.
Ed doubled down in his press conference just now and said, yeah, we were the better team, thought we were the better team. He said that after the game in the heat of the moment, and then said it again 48 hours later on a Monday press conference. What are your thoughts on the way he's carried himself the last couple of days?
I think looking at that great handshake him and Nick had after the game, I think there's no love lost between these programs. I think, like I said before, you're trying to run them in the dirt. You're trying to make it as embarrassing as possible. And that's just what it is to this point. And I think Coach O, he probably believes that deep down inside. But going out there with your C team against those guys, it's just a uphill battle. And I was just blown away that they could find a way to stay in that game.
What do you make of Alabama?
I think I'm not going to put too much into that. I think what I saw, Bryce, he kept them in that game. Just LSU changing it up. That's something you always talk about in games. Like, we're practicing these plays. This is what they've shown on film, but you guys got to be ready to react to if they have something new. And that's exactly what LSU did. And it seemed like Alabama just was not ready for that. And that's the beautiful thing I like about what Durante Jones did. But I think going out there and slowing down that offense the way they did, I think it was unpredictable. But I think going forward, I love what Bryce Young can do. He didn't throw interceptions. He kept them in the game that way. And I think they'll be just fine going down this home stretch.
Do you? I mean, you're looking at a team that was on the ropes in Gainesville against a team that's totally dysfunctional at this point. We're going to probably talk a little bit about that tomorrow. Then they go to College Station, just get beat by a backup quarterback and guys at Texas A&M play LSU, look real beatable for the majority of that game, and certainly were. I mean, yeah, they blitzkrieged Ole Miss in a game they were clearly ready for, but it's been more uneven performances than really good ones to this point.
Yeah, I think we're so used to seeing Alabama just blow everyone off the face of the earth year in and year out and just find themselves in the playoffs. That's kind of Alabama we expect. I think that's a different football team that we're watching this year. Obviously, they're probably a little more closer to the pack than Georgia is to this point to me, just watching them all season, especially after watching last Saturday. But at the end of the day, you still have the best football coach in all of America. You still got a Heisman frontrunner at quarterback, and you still got some dudes on that defense that can make plays. So, and as long as those things are intact, I'm not gonna bet against them. I think they can still be in any game, find a way to win just from coaching and just the athletes that they have out there on the field.
I probably feel the same way. I mean, would it shock me if they lost to Auburn? No, it would not. Would it shock me if they went to Atlanta and beat Georgia? No, it would not. I think they've got enough playmakers to do it. Now, Georgia looks like they're on a different level than everybody else. It looks to be the case. But when you've got a quarterback as good as Young, those receivers are not the 4 first-rounders that they had, but they're not bad. Williams can fly. Mechie's been a productive guy for 3 years now. It's not quite what it was, but I think they're capable of getting into a shootout with somebody and beating them. It's so fascinating to watch all the Alabama fans on Twitter, the Alabama beat writers, all just absolutely melt in a game where they're winning, and they had a 2-score lead at one point. They hate Bill O'Brien. They hate the defensive coordinator. They just got to get him out of there. It's a different world over there because they've been brainwashed by this decade of dominance.
They're so spoiled. I kind of went through this when I was on the Patriots, and someone explained it to me. I was like, man, some of these kids, since they've been 2-3 years old, all they've known is Tom Brady. All they've known is winning, and it just creates a mindset for you that losing is unacceptable, and that if we lose, it's someone's fault.
It's got to roll.
Yeah, something's wrong. Someone's fault, and that's just what they're used to. And Nick has done just a phenomenal job there in Tuscaloosa, giving them the Tuscaloosa pride, that same feeling, just winning year in and year out, knowing you're going to be in it every year. And when you're, in a one-possession game with LSU, who's 4-4. That's just unacceptable, but hey, they're still in the thick of things, and they have everything that they can want right in front of them.
Let's go ahead and run through what we saw in the league before we get to the Saints here in the next segment. Georgia absolutely housed Missouri 43-6, did not give up a touchdown. Really, the question now becomes: is Stetson Bennett their quarterback? I mean, is that where we are? Because Daniels played a little bit in the game, but Stetson Bennett's kind of their guy, which is shocking.
Yeah, I think they're gonna roll with Stetson. He's found a rapport with these receivers, man. He's hitting those deep balls, and I think that's what's gonna really open up this offense on a whole nother level. If they're running that run game with White, and then they're mixing that play action game in there with that defense to back it, it's gonna be really tough. You see why that gap is so big between them and everyone else, and Stetson's really come in and done a job. So they're gonna be the favorites pretty much from here on out.
Speaking of backup QBs, Zach Calzada out there for Texas A&M. Didn't have to do much because Auburn didn't score a touchdown. 20-3 was the final score. I am so furious that I watched Bo Nix run around like an 8th grader on a 5th grade field. Nobody can tackle him. He's throwing touchdown passes all over the place. Looks like a Heisman winner. I turn on the TV. He's in College Station just dropping the ball. Just looks awful at every turn. That is not fair. That's unacceptable.
Man, I guess I gotta scrap the Menzel from your name, buddy. I'm sorry, Bo.
Yeah, you throw up 3 points.
I gotta scrap it, but man, that was just tough to watch. That's the guy I thought that would show up to Tiger Stadium, but I guess it wasn't. I don't know what it was, but I think for us, especially, I hate to go back to the Auburn game, but man, you come with anything close to that Alabama strategy that we had last week against Bo Nix, trust me, he would have thrown us a couple, and he probably wouldn't have been running around all crazy the way he was, but. That was a great win for A&M. Obviously, they need some help here to get to Atlanta. They're still not out of the picture with that. Alabama slips up. They're right there. So that was a huge home win for them.
I need Mike Elko, Texas A&M's defensive coordinator, to get a head job and move out. I mean, he's good, and I don't need him in College Station anymore. He's got a really good unit, and they're recruiting really well. There's all these jobs opening up in Texas. Texas Tech just filled theirs, but TCU's open. Somebody hire Elko. Go ahead and do it. I'd appreciate it. Hugh Freeze and Liberty head to Oxford, and they are dealt a 27-14 blow. Corral, 20 of 27 for 324 and a touchdown. Jaron Ely breaks off a long one in the first quarter. Kind of an uneventful game.
Yeah, that was just a flat game for Ole Miss. Obviously, it was a Hugh Freeze ball and him coming back into town, but it's really hard to get up for Liberty. It's just not what you want to see if you're Ole Miss and you're challenging for the SEC West. That was just, they got the job done. I think that's all that was, and they found a way to get Malik Willis to get more turnovers, which he has been doing all year.
Mississippi State goes to Arkansas. They have a field goal at the gun that misses 31-28 at the final in a wild back-and-forth second half between Arkansas and Mississippi State. A really good football game. Arkansas gets off the schneid. They move to 2-3 in league play. Mississippi State 3-3 in the league. Anything catch your mind on that one?
Yeah, Mississippi State, man, I thought they would be a lot less competitive this year. I thought, obviously they'd be able to score some points, but they've been playing with a lot of people, man, and that offense is really, putting up a ton of yards. They couldn't find a way to win this one. I know Dick Jones of the Bayou Fort Chat's very upset about that. Yeah. And it's a tough time for the Leach era, man. He's going to have to start figuring things out because I'm sure they're going to want them to have some signature win, and I really can't point to it right now.
Hogs got to bowl eligibility with that win. They are 6-3. Wild one in Lexington. Tennessee comes out on top 45-24. They scored 24 points in the first half. It was 21-24 at halftime. And the teams both scored 14 in the third quarter. It was way back and forth. Levis throws for 372 and 3 touchdowns against the Tennessee defense. It's not very good, but that's okay because they are scoring a lot of points, and they had 45 to show for it in a win at Kroger Field in Kentucky. Tennessee's 3-3 in the league.
Yeah, Hendon Hooker's figured it out, man. You go 15 for 20 for 316, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions. That's very, very impressive, especially on the road in Kroger when Kroger was buzzing. And this is the best the Wildcats has been. Now you got Kentucky basketball.
Yep, basketball season in Lexington. They are now 4-3 in league play. Yeah.
Not going to be quite buzzing the same. So that was a great way to take the air out of the good old Kentucky faithful. And Levis, he had a great bounce back game compared to how he was playing. Throwing for over 300 plus, but that offense is high-powered, and Heupel has that thing rolling on all cylinders right now.
And then the shocking upset of the day was South Carolina absolutely laying waste to Florida. 40-17 was the final score. Todd Grantham no longer employed there. The defensive coordinator was fired this morning, as well as their offensive line coach, who had been with Dan Mullen for 20 years, dating all the way back to the Bowling Green days with Urban Meyer. So heads rolling in Gainesville as they are 2-5 in the league and are just a disaster.
I love to see it, man. I love to see those Gators struggling, man, trying to figure that thing out. I knew with their quarterback struggles, that could be an interesting one. I expected them to win that game, but I didn't expect them to just lose in a dominating fashion that they did. And that was just a tough time, man. It's really bad. It's not looking good for Dan. He's got to have to figure some things out right now. But that was good to see.
Look, there's now a report that surfaced that Anthony Richardson, Florida's backup quarterback, was cleared from concussion protocol on Thursday. They flew to Columbia, and then on Friday he was injured dancing in the hotel on Friday night and was unavailable for the game on Saturday. This is Murphy's Law. Anything that can go wrong in Gainesville will.
Man, that I hope that's not true, because if it is, that's just really bad. Oh, man, that's bad. And that they needed him. I think Emory did not play well. You would have loved to have a guy you can turn to and switch things up. Maybe he can get you going. Maybe he can pop some runs. But that was just a very, very embarrassing display for the Florida Gators.
I mean, you look at what they've done on the field the last 3 times they've gone out there, having a rushing record set against you by the worst LSU team in 30 years. Then you go play Florida and get absolutely annihilated. Then you go play a hapless South Carolina team and are not even competitive in the game. It's turning over, pick sixes. This is trouble in Gainesville. And I think that Dan Mullen will survive this because Scott Strickland believes in him and has hitched his wagon to Dan Mullen at 2 different places now. He was the AD at Mississippi State, hired Mullen, then went to Florida, hired him again. He wants Dan Mullen to succeed, and I think the firing of the 2 assistant coaches will buy him another year if he wants it. But, man, it is not good in Gainesville right now.
Yep, that's exactly what I predicted. I didn't think they would move on from Dan just quite yet, but I knew Grantham was on the hot seat. I knew if they put up any performance, and it wasn't even Luke Doty or the fighting Zeb Nolan. It was Jason Brown from South Carolina.
Of course it was. Old Jason. It sounds like a created player from the Xbox.
Yeah.
Jason Brown.
So you let Jason Brown light you up and really stop you from being what you wanted to be, and that's getting a big road win to have some any sort of confidence about yourself. But tough loss for the Gators, and I love to see it, like I said.
Speaking of tough losses, Black and Gold couldn't get it done yesterday against the Falcons. We'll talk about that next on Hunt and Hill.
Hunt Palmer, Jeremy Hill, Hunt and Hill. In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
I had to pack up all my things. I had to leave my home. And I never knew where I was going next. But then you came along.
There's a child in foster care waiting for a volunteer like you.
It's no secret. The best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli?
I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you were born to do.
Barbecue Guys, for those who were born to grill.
You want cheese on your burger, Pops?
I'll take a little cheese.
Front to Back Boat Service has been family owned and operated for 30 years. And the Sherman family is NMEA certified. That's the National Marine Electronics Association at Front to Back. They are committed to improving the safety and technology of marine electronics through installer training, interface standards. And look, the fall and the winter, it's the perfect time to do that yearly maintenance you've been putting off. Get those parts you've been wanting. So schedule your appointment today at Front to Back, North Airway off of Airline Highway.
Tonight, we invite you to celebrate life, wherever and whenever you can, understanding that time is never on our side. Instead, gather up your friends tonight and share a few stories and laughs over a good bottle of wine. Or maybe a family meal that gives everyone a chance to reconnect and remember what's really important, whether it's for a birthday, an anniversary, or simply to remind someone special that they are loved. Rafino's, where Louisiana comes to celebrate life.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
Yo, Jake here for Patient Plus Urgent Care Clinic, the place that's going to be convenient for you during an inconvenient time. Look, you hear me talk about my 4 boys all the time, and sometimes things like stitches, well, they happen. And in fact, they have. And Patient Plus is always taking care of us, just like they'll do the same for you. And now with 7 convenient locations across the Baton Rouge area, open from 9 a.m. until 9 p.m., 7 days a week. And also at PatientPlusUC.com, you can sign up for your appointment on the way to the clinic. That's Patient Plus Urgent Care Clinic. Get in and get better.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona inviting you to join us for Monday's AFR, presented by Relief Windows. We'll recap Saints Falcons, LSU Bama. We'll hear from Coach O, and Cole Kublik joins us. It's AFR, Monday, 3 to 6, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hunt and Hill, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
The Saints added to the misery of South Louisiana on Sunday. Everybody's wallowing in the loss in Tuscaloosa and figured the Saints had a good chance to take on a 3-4 Falcons team at home in the Dome. Didn't come out swinging. Trevor Seminary did not get off to a great start. The Saints had 3 points through 3 quarters and were trailing 17-3. And then all of a sudden, a land rush of points, going up and down the field, making big plays, and end up taking the lead. And then they go for 2. I didn't love the play call on the 2-point conversion. Just a pretty standard handoff to Kamara. Like a little bit more action. That's a perfect time for Taysom, I would think. I don't know if he was injured or available at that point, but pretty standard. And then obviously the Falcons hit the big play to Patterson down the sideline and are able to kick the chip shot field goal to win it by 2. A gut check loss for the Saints.
Yeah, you let Matty Ice get cooking, man, and he just had it going yesterday. Obviously, the Saints made a great run in the fourth quarter, but just watching that whole game, you could just tell Matt had it going, and they didn't really need a run game at all. 25 rushes for 34 yards. That lets you see that, the Saints rush defense was there, but Matty was just doing too much, and when he doesn't turn the ball over, it just puts him in a great situation to win the game. And I think the story for Trevor Siemian, 18.5 QBR, just lets you know he did not play well. Obviously, a ton of success in the fourth quarter, but not playing well enough throughout that game to keep the Saints close enough to really not be in that situation in the end. And obviously, big play, Paulson Adebo just kind of relaxed just a little too much on that play and gave Patterson a chance to make a huge play for the game, and that's what the Falcons did. And they kicked the field goal and went on their way. Man, just a tough loss for the Saints. Man, you just felt like that was a great opportunity to do something special and really put yourself in the NFC hunt in a great spot, but you slip up and lose that one. Now you got to go back to the drawing board and then figure this thing out.
You look at the matchup of the Saints defensive backs against these Falcon wide receivers when they're without Ridley, their best option. You got Cordell Patterson playing kind of a running back hybrid deal. He had 6 catches. Russell Gage in on the mix. He had 7 grabs. They go to Kyle Pitts early. He was kind of making Lattimore look silly a little bit early in that game. I figured that the Saints would put up a better fight against the pass because the Falcons didn't have really explosive options, and they certainly feasted 343 yards from Ryan. But I think most important thing is that the Saints just offensively had nothing to show for the first 3 quarters, and they just dug too deep a hole. Maybe there's something you can take from late in the game. Siemian got going a little bit. They moved the ball a little bit better. Hits Callaway for the touchdown. Maybe there's something they found there that they can bring forward, but 3 points through 3 quarters is not going to get it.
Yeah, Siemian going for 6 yards of completion. That's just not what you see. You look over to the other sideline, Matt's at 11. So it just sets when they drop back to pass the ball, they're making hay, they're making plays, and it's kind of what you didn't see from Trevor yesterday. Just a tough spot, obviously. Getting thrust into your first start. With Jameis playing all year, and you're really not getting that many reps. It may take him some time to really, get under this offense, get some rhythm with these receivers, and really Sean Payton and him figuring out what Trevor can really do well and trying to, tailor the offense to that, because that's a daunting task to ask for a guy to jump into a, NFC South rivalry game when the Falcons are going to be playing, like fire, especially with the Saints record being what it was. So just a tough, division game to lose. But, the Saints still got a ton of football in front of them. They can possibly figure this thing out.
It's just impossible to forecast anything for the Saints. I've made a big deal about how tough I think this stretch in their schedule is. The fact of the matter is that they absolutely whitewashed a Green Bay team that hasn't lost since, other than yesterday without Rodgers. But point being, with Rodgers, they had not lost since. They beat the Bucks straight up, just beat them at home. Lose to the Giants, lay an egg against the Panthers, lose at home to the Falcons. It's just nothing has gone the way that I would have imagined for this Saints team, and that's why I guess trying to forecast, they'll win that one there. That's going to be a tough one. Where does it apply? I don't know. They tend to do something I'm not expecting every single week.
Yeah, just a really unpredictable football team. Just all year long, when you think they're gonna show up and lay down and really not play well, they show up and play lights out and find a way to win games in really convincing fashion. And when you feel like they're primed to go out and handle business, maybe win by a couple scores, they're finding themselves down and trying to find ways to win football games. So I think that's probably driving Sean Payton crazy to this point, just not having this consistency you want to have for a team that's 5-3 and really should be 6-2 right now. You got to get that figured out. You got to get some more consistency, and I think they can.
I'm guessing a lot of survivor pools went up in smoke yesterday. With some of the results, we thought the Bengals were really, maybe a contender in the AFC as of 2 weeks ago. They've been outclassed 2 weeks in a row now. The Browns went to Cincinnati and crushed them. Cowboys were 6-1, hosting a mediocre Broncos team. They get beat by 2 scores. Falcons come to New Orleans and win. The Raiders, division leader over there in the AFC, they go to New York, and the Giants, who were 2-6 entering the game, beat them. Somehow, some way, the Jaguars beat the Bills, who couldn't score a touchdown in the game against the Jags. It was a wildly unpredictable week in the NFL, and then he finished it with last night with the Titans kind of running all over the Rams. Stafford turning the football over, pick 6, and another terrible interception. There were 5 or 6 results that are borderline shocking from yesterday.
Yeah, and I think you look in all those games, the teams that were heavily favored, they turned the ball over. The Bengals, all those interceptions, Dak throwing interceptions.
Joe was rough yesterday.
Yeah. Josh Allen, he had interceptions, some fumbles lost. That's just kind of what happens when you're the favorite team and you keep these teams in a game. You do that with turnovers and just not playing well, and that's kind of just what happened across the league. Just a really quirky, quacky, goofy day in the NFL. Vegas probably made a ton of money, so that's just what happens. Those guys, like I always say in the NFL, those guys on the sideline, they get paid a lot of money too. They put in a lot of work too. They watch a lot of film too, and sometimes the teams that's not favored, they find a way to get it done.
Ravel tweeted that 90% of the cash was on the Bengals -2.5 in that Bengals-Browns game. The Bengals lost by 25 points.
Oh, yeah.
So Vegas will count all of their money from that game there. What do you make of the Chiefs scoring 13 points against the Packers? It's just they're a tough watch right now.
Man, Mahomes is just not clicking. Everything that you kind of saw in the peak of their powers, all those deep shots to Tyreek, just scheming teams up, guys running wide open. They just don't have it. And I think I said this about this LSU offense, and I'll say this. It's just very similar to the Chiefs. Everything looks hard. They try to make run plays happen. That looks hard. They try to throw deep. Mahomes is holding it all day long, trying to scramble, extend the play. Just everything looks hard. And I think when you normally watch Andy Reid offenses, he's scheming things up. He's giving you misdirection. He's giving you jet sweeps. He's giving you screens and shovel passes, and I think people are catching up to that. They've seen this offense run at a high clip for three years already, and now that all that game film and all that stuff is out, and you're seeing these coordinators sort of figure this out. So I think it's going to really boil down to Mahomes going back to that MVP level and really playing lights out and completing 68-70% of his passes for this offense to really go back to what they were. But until that happens, man, you're going to see them having performances like they've had all year.
All right, we'll come back, briefly touch on a little LSU basketball because they open the season tomorrow, and then we'll finish out a Monday edition of Hunt and Hill.
This is Hunt and Hill on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Another reminder about FanDuel. Sports betting's coming to Louisiana. Make FanDuel your preferred app of choice. It's so easy to use and register. Every single day they've got big super boosts. Every single weekend they've got super boosts. Increases your odds. Make a little bit extra money, and we're giving you some money, $100 in free site credit when you create your account and put in the promo code WNXX. Just download the FanDuel Sportsbook, register now, $100 in free site credit. It's easy to use, always hooking you up with those great offers, and when you win, you can get paid in as little as 2 hours. While we're so happy to be partnered with FanDuel here on Hunt and Hill. Must be 21 and present in Louisiana. Bonus is issued on a non-withdrawable site credit that expires 7 days after FanDuel accepts its first real money sports wager in Louisiana. Unique user identity verification is required. The offer ends on the go-live date. Restrictions do apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. And if you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-877-770-STOP.
Our listeners fire off their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
It is not too late. You can enroll today at ITI. Winter classes start November 17th. Our industry-driven curriculum will put you on a new career on a fast track. Enroll today for a better life.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
If you're in an accident, a car accident, a slip and fall where you're injured, you need to call an attorney. The defendant insurance company, it's their goal to close the case as quickly as possible and pay out the least amount of money as possible. That's why it's important to call an attorney and call the law offices of O.C. Brown.
At the law office of O.C. Brown, we're a family-owned firm. We want to be your law firm for a lifetime.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and...
It's week 10 in the prep football season, and we get started Friday with Louisiana Prep Preview presented by Brock, the Baton Rouge Orthopedic Clinic, at 6 p.m. And we'll wrap up the night at 10 with a full 2 hours of the Lake Urgent Care Lake After Hours Louisiana Prep School Board Show on Your View, YouTube, and 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hunt and Hill on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Tigers opening up basketball season tomorrow. Both the Lady Tigers and the Tigers. The Lady Tigers will play at 11 o'clock in the morning tomorrow, and then the men will play at 7 o'clock against Keith Richard's ULM team. You started to look at this team a little bit, Jeremy. Kind of your thoughts as we enter the season. We'll get far deeper into it tomorrow.
Yeah, I want to see who's in that first 8-9 kind of rotation, who's coming off the bench, who's going to be the sixth man. Which one of these kind of young bigs is he going to start after? And like, what's going to be that starting five? Really, just kind of how he gets those guys out there, and then the playing style. I know he wants them to be a lot more scrappy, a lot more physical, a lot more rebound, give a lot more rebounds, and just play a lot more dominant brand of basketball. So I want to see if they come out with that intensity and that passion, and which guys kind of trot out there to really help this team win games.
I think if I had to guess, Pinson's going to start. I know the two guard I think is going to be Gaines. I don't think he'll start Murray there. I think Imwani has got a chance to be your three there. Days will definitely start. I've got him there at the 4. And Eason, I think, probably is your 5 right now. You have the ability to go to Afton Reed. He's a little bit taller and maybe gives you a little bit more on the offensive side. But Eason did score a bunch against Nichols, and that's not something we expected to see from him. So I'm excited to watch them play defense, kind of see what they do. Last year they implemented a new kind of defense where they switched just about everything, and it gave some people some fits early, and then people kind of got to it, and they had a hard time keeping the penetration out. So I'm curious to see what they look like on defense. And then in terms of offense, I'm worried about them offensively in the backcourt. They don't have great shooters. Now, Wade's teams have just been great offensive teams since he's been here, but it helps to have Tremont Waters, Javonte Smart, Cam Thomas, Trendon Watford. Those guys make you a little better offensive team, but they weren't very good on defense. This team, when I look at this team, I look at a guy, Gaines is a defensive guy. Mwani said he wanted to win SEC Defensive Player of the Year. He's a defensive guy. Terry Eason is a guy who was a really good defensive player for Cincinnati. They got more guys on this team who probably hang their hat more so on the defensive side than they do on the offensive side. Maybe that helps a little bit. I actually went through the entire roster. It's about 15 minutes long. If you go to the YouTube channel and want to just a quick refresher or an intro to this LSU basketball team, go to YouTube, go to the Hunt and Hill page. Hopefully you can subscribe that and like it. If you could do that, that'd be great. And I've got a 15-minute video. Takes no time to go through and tell you kind of everything this team looks like. So we'll talk a little bit more about LSU and about ULM tomorrow as the season gets underway. But let's finish out a Monday show with some take it or leave it.
All right, let's get it. All right, Cincinnati, they barely hold off Alabama for their number 2 spot in the college football AP poll. Are you taking or leaving the Bearcats to be the second best team in the AP poll?
I'm leaving that every way I can leave it. Obviously, they got let off the hook in a big way against Tulsa on Saturday. Tulsa's quarterback just didn't want to score a touchdown. I mean, the only thing I can think of is that he had a bunch of cash on Cincinnati. He comes free on a read option, and he can get into the end zone easily if he just falls forward. And instead, he tried to go feet. He cowered. He cowered. I don't have another word for it. Again, the fat radio guys on here talking about football players not wanting to get hit by 260-pound linebackers. I get it. Dude, I would have scored on that play. I would have scored. All you had to do was dive forward and let him hit you. It's a touchdown. He slid and didn't. It was just pathetic. Now, everybody else looked terrible too on Saturday. So it's not like there's a slam dunk that a bunch of people were a lot better than them. Alabama looked awful. Ohio State struggled and didn't look very good for most of their game. So everybody's got their issues, but Cincinnati, not the number 2 team in the country. Florida fired their defensive coordinator Todd Grantham after their road loss to South Carolina. That the right move for Mullen?
Yeah, I'll take it. I think he had to. I think at this point it's pretty much damage control. This thing is really, the wheels are falling off this thing. That Florida program to play Alabama the way they did earlier this season, and to now see them losing on the road to, I already forgot his name. What was his name? The quarterback, Matt Brown or something?
Mason
Brown
no
or something. It's just something terrible. I can't even remember.
Jeremy? I have no idea.
Yeah, I have no idea. So they lost a quarterback that hadn't played all year, and that was just embarrassing. So I think as Mullen and the crew, you have to do that. You have to do something drastic to try to get this thing back going in the right direction. But that's terrible. I didn't think the Florida Gators would be losing to the Gamecocks.
Look, this is not something we're going to do a lot of on this show, but we are going to do it tomorrow because I think it's interesting, especially early in the week. We're going to go to Gainesville. Nick Delatorre covers Florida for, I believe, the 247 network. We're going to talk to him tomorrow. They've got fired defensive coordinator, fired offensive line coach, a coach who's answering questions about his job, whether or not he's on the hot seat. You've got a situation where the quarterback gets hurt dancing in a hotel. We got recruiting stories round and round. And that fan base is not friendly if you're not winning. They do not. They sat through the Spurrier years. They watched Urban Meyer get to the top of the sport. They don't have time for all this crap, and it's a lot going on. So we're going to talk to Nick Delatorre tomorrow in the first hour about what the heck is going on. Because also, if Dan Mullen loses his job, that's a job now you've got to compete with in the market. So it's a relevant story around here. Obviously, Scott Woodward has known that he was making a move for quite some time. He's had all this time to get his ducks in a row, and he's got his feet out there on the trail. But that would be a job that you would have to compete with because Florida is a really, really good one. So interesting stuff, and we'll talk to Nick Delatorre tomorrow. Baker Mayfield, 82.7 QBR is his best this season as the Browns beat the Bengals 41-16 in the AFC North showdown. There, you taking or leaving? The Browns are still contenders in the AFC.
I'll take it. I'll take it. I hope I didn't take them off my list. I didn't take them off yet, did I?
Look at the bottom.
I don't think I did. I think I kept them there. I did.
You did. You're still there. I got them off mine. And let me just tell you, there's another one coming off my list that I watched yesterday.
Okay,
two more. There's two more coming off for me.
I think I know where you're going with that one too. But yeah, man, I think that was a like I said last week, man, I think for both sides, Baker and Odell, I think it just got to a point where it's just way too much going on. I think for both parties, it's got to do well for their careers. And obviously you saw Baker have his best performance all year with Odell out that lineup and nowhere to be found. So I'm excited for that. I think anytime you get your back, rushing for 10 yards a clip and Chubb, it's going to help your quarterback out a ton. And that defense showed up and made Joey B look really pedestrian yesterday. So I think the Browns can be in there, especially if they get hot like they did last year. All righty here. Oh, you're going to love this one. The St. Louis Cardinals are the Major League record. With a Major League record. 5 Gold Glove Award winners on their roster this season. Are you leaving your favorite team in baseball? They deserve the MLB record?
They can have it. They didn't even win the division. They didn't win a playoff game. They stink. That's the end of the discussion about the Cardinals. I'll leave it.
All right. The Gonzaga Bulldogs are favored to win the men's basketball national championship for a second straight season. Are you taking or leaving the Zags to still be the favorite for 2 years straight?
Sure, I'll take it. What people are not necessarily paying a ton of attention to, Mark Few has started to recruit with the big boys. They're starting to get 5-star kids. They've always done it with older teams, and he's found his diamonds in the rough, and he's whipped up on the conference and then gotten into. But they're starting to now to recruit with the big boys, and they're as good as those teams for sure. Obviously, being that they've won, that. But it's I'll go ahead and take it. I think there are a lot of really good teams. I cannot wait to watch a little bit of basketball tomorrow with the State Farm Champions Classic. I think you've got Kentucky and Duke, and then Michigan State, Kansas. Can't wait to watch that. And then, of course, watching LSU. I'm all in on some early season college basketball. Football has not been the most fun around these parts for the last couple of weeks, so a little change of pace is just fine with me. What do you got?
Yeah. I think I'm excited for this college basketball. I really haven't been, paying attention. I normally, catch it, March Madness. I'm more of a super NBA guy, but I think this year I can finally, embrace it again and really start following some of these teams and keeping up and really what's going on, especially the Tigers, man. I'm going to be really invested in the Tigers this year, so I'm going to be excited to see what they got going.
I just hope we can shoot. We're going to talk a ton about LSU basketball tomorrow as they open their season. 7 o'clock against ULM. Tickets still available, lsutix.net. You can go get some season tickets. They were looking for, I think, 7,000 season tickets, and they're 100 or so short. So jump in there, get some season tickets, support these guys. We will be chatting about them a bunch tomorrow. That'll do it for us. Heard from Ed Ogeron in the first hour reacting to both losses for our Louisiana teams over the weekend. So we will part ways with you now, and we will be back here at noon tomorrow. Matt Moscone will drive you home from 3 to 6 on After Further Review. Jimmy Ott's Game Time from 6 to 8, and the boys with your early line, Mario and Moose.